What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing our first ever polyglot investigation into, drumroll, except I don't have a drum, Lindy. A bunch of you have requested that I actually do an investigation into her, and well, that's what we've done. That's what my community and I have been working towards over the last week. So this is her channel right here. As you can see, it's quite a colorful channel. She talks about languages, language learning methods. She also shares travel vlogs of her using these languages. And then if we have a look at the description, it's got, "Hi, thanks for stopping by. I'm Lindy. I make videos about language learning and, healthy mindsets, etc." Now, she has a second YouTube channel where she speaks in Afrikaans, or teaches, Afrikaans. And here she says a similar thing. "Hello, my name is Lindy. I'm here to help you with Afrikaans. I like to share my love of languages with you. Sometimes I can make videos about South African food." And finally, she has her website where she talks about, working with languages and working as a UX UI designer. She's a co-founder of Wikitongues, which you've probably all heard about. It's a very, it's a good service overall. And then she's also worked on multiple language learning apps, so she is deep within the language learning space. And if we go check out her About section, you can see right here a list of her languages along the right where it's got language interests. So we've got basically, she's a native of Afrikaans and English, and then she lists these other languages down here. Now, she doesn't say claims, she just says language interests, and this is basically what we're going to start by working with. Now, just like normal, my community has put together an investigation. We've put her claims right there, and then we've basically gone through and reviewed all of her languages based on the videos that we can find for those languages. Some of them we couldn't find, and we also found languages that weren't actually claimed on the website, so we looked into those ones as well. Now, for those who are unaware, basically what we do is we use the Common European Framework, which is a system for basically testing someone's language abilities, and we will be referring to this when we go through each one of those languages. Now, if you have a look here, we've got A1 on the left, C2 on the right. A1 basically means you're a beginner, you've learnt the pronunciation, some really basic phrases. Basically at this stage, it's all just kind of set memorization. Now, if you look at B2, this is what most people determine to be fluent in a language. You'll be able to talk about most everyday things. And then finally, we've got C1 over to the right, which is basically a native speaker at this point. And then C2 is like an educated native speaker. But please be aware that this is not to do with accents. Accents and ability to use a language are two totally different things. Now, please be aware that the differences between these two different levels is not a linear progression, it's pretty much a graph. Okay, so what I've done is I've basically taken those languages from that website and mapped them onto the Common European Framework, but I've had to do some creativity here. So we've got the blue ones, which are languages she's learnt, and then we've got the red ones, which are native languages. So if we have a look here, I've also put above A1, A2, and B2 these words, beginner, intermediate, and proficient, because these are words that she used herself to describe her language abilities. Now, intermediate could sit above B1, or it could sit above A2, and beginner could sit above, A2 or A1. It's hard to say because it's really dependent on the person, but I've gone with the safe option and pushed intermediate down to A2 and beginner down to A1 because she's not making like an outwardly very open claim about her language abilities. So realistically, there's not so much a claim except for those ones which she listed as proficient, and we'll talk about those later. But for the other ones where she said beginner and intermediate, it was more like she didn't provide like a specific level around them, so I'm guessing she's just kind of, like throwing a dart type of thing. Now, you'll notice that there's two light blue ones there. Those were not listed on the website, but we found her actually learning those languages, which to me implies that the languages listed on that website are out of date. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at the Afrikaans and the English, because there is something I do want to show here. Unsurprisingly, she speaks Afrikaans well. I see no reason to doubt that it's her native language. She says that she largely grew up outside of South Africa because her father is a diplomat. She only spoke Afrikaans at home until her family moved back to South Africa, where she started studying Afrikaans academically and as a home language as well. So she is a native speaker of Afrikaans, but it's possible that it's not on the same level as someone who literally grew up in the country. And for English, she's just simply a native speaker. So we don't really need to review these two languages. So what we will be doing now is going to her highest level first, which is Korean. Now, I need to emphasize this. People always forget this. I'm only showing you a short segment of her speaking these languages. And if it seems like what people are saying does not match with the clip that I happen to show, it's probably because they've analyzed a bunch more videos that you have not yet seen. If you want to get the full details, use the document which will be in the description below.
네, 감사합니다. 안녕하세요. 저는 남아공에서 태어났지만 해외에서 많이 살던 린디라고 합니다. 네, 지금 현재 싱가포르에서 디자이너로 일하고 있지만 취미는 외국어 공부하는 것이에요.
지금 몇 개 국어를 하시죠? 물론 언어마다 수준들은 다르겠지만.
네, 수준이 다르긴 하지만 한 10개나 15개쯤 그 사이에 좀 하고 있습니다. 공부하고 있어요.
몇 개 안 되네요. 네.
네, 저는 부족하다고 생각해요.
15개 국어면은 잠은 언제 주무세요? 그럼? 잠 안 주무세요?
잠이 부족합니다.
Okay, you can see that this video is like 16 minutes long. She clearly speaks Korean. She's taking part in an interview right now. But what I want to point out is that she's very honest right here. So, yeah, she says, I speak 15 languages. And then she corrected herself and she said, I'm learning. So she wanted to make sure that she was not like selling a false image of herself. So I've got to give her big props for that. Not perfect, but she seems to be able to speak, converse in semi-fluent manner. I can see some mistakes with pronunciation, but that may have changed. Looking at her other videos, it looks like she actually takes effort learning Korean, and the material she reads also looks fairly high level. I would say around high B2, low C1 is adequate. And I like this little bit right here. Overall, she seems to be very honest about her process and skills, and I applaud it. Her handwriting is great, by the way, better than mine. That's coming from a native. That's a very kind thing to say. Although, remember, natives sometimes like to be a bit modest, especially in Asia. I've watched Lindy's content for a while, so I'm already fairly confident saying she's in the B2 to C1 range. I agree on pronunciation, and I don't know how advanced her knowledge of advanced grammar slang is, but I definitely think she's a low C1 or a high B2. She is very good at catching how a native sounds, like in all the languages that she learns, but I won't say it's perfect, but it's definitely better than all the other polyglots out there who say that they know Korean. So what we've done is we've pushed down that Korean a little bit to the left, and realistically it could actually be in the C1 range. It's just hard to say based on the content that she produces. Okay, let's take a look at Japanese.
こんにちは。久しぶりに本を紹介したいと思います。今日の本はデザインじゃなくて色と日本の作品についての本ですけど、で皆さんはもしかして日本のデザインが好きだったらこの本をぜひおすすめしたいと思います。で本の名前は色です。で英語の名前は色 The Essence of Color in Japanese Design.
And we'll take a look at just one other video as well.
リンディちゃんはね、なんかいろんな外国語をなかなか高いレベルまで習ったでしょ。高
いっていうかわからないけど、たくさん言語を勉強して言語まだレベルが確かに違うけど、
そうだよね。リンディにとってはその経験があったの？リンディちゃんの人生なんか変えた経験があるの？
そうですね。多分韓国語はその一番なんていうのかな、独学の言語だった外国語。なんか学校でフランス語と英語、アフリカンス語を学んだけど、韓国語はその一生懸命初めてに独学で勉強した言語で。
Okay, so there's one other thing apart from the Japanese in that last clip I wanted to show you, and it was the fact that the interviewer basically upsold her, and then she pulled herself back down to a realistic level and said, well, no, I just study lots of languages. She had the perfect opportunity then to just to agree with the interviewer and just say, yeah, I'm amazing, type of thing. And she didn't. So she's extremely modest. Now, the second thing is, her Japanese on the website placed her around the B-ish 1 level, maybe a bit lower, but realistically, she's now at a B2 level, and I'll show you the reviews for that in a second, which means that that website is clearly out of date. And this is actually going to show probably where she is now compared to the snapshot of wherever that website was in time. And the fact that her Japanese and Korean now are in like the proficient range, that is just a massive achievement in itself. These are two totally different languages from different language families. This is not like adjacent languages to her native language or anything. Now, we got a lot of Japanese reviews in here, but I'll just quickly go over a couple of them. So, has a slight accent but has decent flow with words, uses fairly similar vocabulary and grammar structures, but I'd say she might even be better than N3 considering this is a video from 3 years ago. So they were reviewing one of those ones. As you can see, there's a lot of videos that were reviewed there. And I'll jump down a little bit and we'll go to Linguist by Trade. She made a lot of progress over the years. I have started following her around 8 years ago. Good video to cite her is this 2017 one on her Japanese notes, which also highlights how her proficiency in writing kanji increased. It's an often omitted thing for polyglots to share their notes, and you can see she is not only a speaker but also writing skill on a B2 level. So this girl is legit. She's not just learning how to speak, she's also learning how to write. Now, realistically, this is enough for me to like just praise her, but let's just keep moving forward. We're going to go to our next language, which is French.
Pourquoi est-ce que tu as... J'ai appris le français à l'école quand j'étais étudiant et après ça, pas du tout. Mais quand j'habitais en Singapour, j'avais une amie française qui je pouvais pratiquer avec, et toutes les fins de semaine nous avons pratiqué le français ensemble, le français et le japonais, mais maintenant il n'y a personne pour moi de parler avec. C'est trop difficile. On doit utiliser la langue tous les jours pour le pratiquer,
s'améliorer.
Ouais.
Her French is passable in my opinion, around a B1. Her pronunciation is alright but needs work. She clearly is capable of expressing basic thoughts in French and following a basic conversation. Not amazing, unfortunately, clearly not a beginner, but I'd describe her as an intermediate rather than beginner. Some structures copied from English that sound unnatural in French. The pronunciation is good as I expect from an English speaker. I'd say B1. She definitely can get by. To be fair, she's spoken other videos about how she learned it in school, then didn't continue after it, and then had a French friend to speak it with, then again didn't continue seriously. I think she's B1+. She is proficient. Like, I think she went out on the streets in French, she would survive for the most basic conversations and daily tasks. Okay, so I would put her around the same level as Cobb, so probably B1. Cobb is another person I reviewed on this channel, go check out the video. The pronunciation is good enough to me, but there is significant struggle in finding the words to say, and there are often noticeable mistakes. Okay, so what we've done is we've pushed her French slightly to the left. She's now kind of like an upper B1 type of thing. But that makes sense because as she stated herself, she hasn't really used it that much. Okay, Mandarin Chinese. This is one of the ones I look forward to.
中文我说得不好。
On va tenter.
First thing she says is I don't speak well.
用chinois. 我也
你的中文比我很好。
一点点啦。
一点点。
哪里？就是对，我在大学学中文的。
真的吗？
对，
我不知道了。
我的
太好了。
对，我的 minor 在大学的 minor 就是中文的。
真的吗？
所以
很好啊。
Okay, you can see there's clearly a bunch of comments in here for Chinese, so I'm not going to steal other people's thunder, but I will say it's definitely beginner level. She has learned some Chinese, but her spontaneous speech is very broken. She's obviously struggling compared with the girls she's speaking with. Her pronunciation is okay, but grammar is off here and there, but largely correct, and she communicates pretty easily with very simple phrases. I watched both videos, and it looks like she doesn't practice Mandarin that much anymore, because in the old video she speaks with more confidence and it sounds more fluid compared to the 2023 one. A1 to A2 level is my opinion. I would say, yeah, that's pretty much right. So basically what I've done is I've pushed the Chinese down to like an upper A1, but unless she like keeps learning, this is probably going to deteriorate to like nothing pretty soon. Okay, next up, Spanish.
Okay, Lindy, get your butt in action. Please start improving your Spanish. It's embarrassing. I'm not here to pretend that I'm fluent. I am not here to be like, yeah, you know, it's been 3 years. Look how I'm speaking Spanish now. Life happens.
Hola a todos y feliz año nuevo. Por fin grabo un video en español para mi canal. Casi nunca practico mi español. Y este año decidí de practicar español mucho más. Y en este video quiero hablar sobre mis planes para mejorar y para practicar mi español. Este año, por supuesto, quiero mejorar mi manera, mi forma de hablar. Es decir, mi acento y pronunciación.
Her Spanish in this short clip sounded fine to me. Some pauses to think of certain tenses and words here and there, which is expected if you haven't studied any or practiced the language in a few years. I would say B1 to B2. Her Spanish is definitely closer to a B2. Her Spanish is good, probably B1 to B2. I would say very honest about her level. It's hard to judge with such a short clip, but I would say that she has very good foundation, A2, and is probably starting now to get into the B1 level. Can see her being a B1 to B2 in Spanish. Okay, so her Spanish has been pushed up a bit to like maybe a mid B1, low B1, although there was one review that was saying it's more towards like an A2, but I'm going to say low B1. Next up, Hungarian, which is an interesting one because it's not very often you get polyglots that speak Hungarian and aren't just like outright frauds. So let's see how she goes.
Van egy nagyon vicces történetem, amit el kell mondanom nektek. Most 2-3 éve újra tanulok magyarul, de még mindig kezdő vagyok, mert tegnap találkoztam egy magyar emberrel egy repülőn, Dél-Afrikában, de érdekes. És beszélgetünk magyarul valamiről, és azt akartam mondani, hogy jég, mint Coca-Cola jéggel, de helyette azt mondtam, hogy hal, mint Coca-Cola halal. Coke with fish.
Okay, I left that going on for a little bit too long there. We're here for a language review, but that's a funny ass story. Her pronunciation is mostly beautiful, but one of the problems is that she does not really pronounce double consonants. Examples from the latest video she posted and they listed them out. If she really went back into practice and can speak like she spoke in the latest video, I would guess she's around a B2, but I would need more recent tapes of her to make it for sure. All the different videos we've seen she's been speaking in different environments, especially the language lessons and the interview show that she really can understand and speak the language. But from what I see, she doesn't understand every word said to her, but can decipher the meaning by the few key elements. And she's able to produce a decent response every time. Probably somewhere between A1 and B1, but I don't feel fully qualified to speak on that. For the most part, she speaks quite well. As mentioned by other reviewers, her pronunciation is decent, but deteriorates with certain words. She's a B1 max. So now we've pushed her Hungarian up to the B1 range. This is actually, there is a lot of languages that she's actually learnt so far. Time for some Arabic.
مرحبا أنا اسمي ليندي أنا من جنوب أفريقيا أنا تعلمت اللغة العربية في المدرسة في دبي العربية شوي شوي أمي جيدة في اللغة العربية ولكن العربية ليست جيدة. Namaste, mera naam Lindy hai.
Second video is old, but you can really tell she trips over her words and oftentimes conjoins 2 to 3 words, so it sounds like a word jumble. She also says my Arabic is so-so in the caption, but in reality she actually said Arabic is slow. The actual Arabic saying is more like my Arabic is half-half. The first video is way too short, yet she still had a heavy accent. The second one is understandable, but she makes many grammar mistakes on the easiest types of sentence structures, A1 if that. So Arabic is going to stay where it is in the A1 range. She actually has learned it a little bit, but like it's still very beginner. Next up, Vietnamese.
Hi everybody, and welcome to my Vietnamese notebook flip through. I'm going to show you how I take notes as a beginner so you can see how I structure my notes and what type of content I write and just how I organize a notebook as a beginner in a language. If you understand any Vietnamese, you'll know that the content in here is very, very basic. It's things like nice to meet you, the verbs like to meet, to be happy to meet.
Okay, basically they say, I believe her Vietnamese shouldn't be rated because she's clearly a beginner. She's just showing her like first forays into the language. So what I've done here is I've kind of scratched out Vietnamese, even though she may be an A1 type of thing, but realistically, again, it's just her showing basically her starting out with the language. Okay, let's check out Tagalog. Based on her claims from a recent video, she can no longer speak Tagalog. She took intense lessons in Singapore but has largely forgotten it. Okay, so we've scratched out Tagalog as well. Let's go to Dutch.
This is my absolute baby basic beginner Dutch. Ja, zo. Hoi allemaal. Ik ben Lindy van Zuid-Afrika en ik wil graag Nederlands
leren. Ik denk dat het Nederlands is een heel mooi, maar de probleem zijn.
In her first video of Dutch, she admits she's just trying to Dutchify her Afrikaans as a total beginner. She is a native Afrikaans speaker, she would probably understand most of the Dutch language, but there is no concept in mind in Dutch. So that one's obvious as day. Dutch stays in the A1 category. Let's check out German. I have clicked through a great deal of her social media presence on her website and could not find any material of her speaking, writing, or learning German. I'm guessing what happened is when she made the website, she put German there because she was just starting out with it, you know, beginner level and everything, and then just gave up on it, so there's nothing to prove that she was learning it or anything like that. Nothing especially crazy there about that. Norwegian time. It's evident from Instagram that she's learning Norwegian, but I couldn't find any samples of her abilities. Okay, so we've scratched out Norwegian as well. So now we're going to look at Turkish and Thai, and these are two ones that she seems to have picked up after updating that website.
Merhaba, ben şimdi İstanbul'dayım. Hava çok sıcak.
Although Lindy doesn't, and I couldn't find an indicated claim level of Turkish anywhere, she makes it very clear from here, the 3 Turkish-related videos, that she's very new to the language. Judging from those 3 videos, it seems she made some pretty good progress in the language. Her pronunciation is clear enough. I think her level is A1, judging from the videos. Okay, so Turkish stays where it is. Now, the final one we're going to look at is Thai.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
วันนี้ฉันอยู่ที่พาร์ค
สวน
สวนกับเพื่อนของฉัน อันนี้ Grace
ใช่ค่ะ
ชื่อ Grace
ชื่อ Grace ค่ะ
ใช่ค่ะ ฉันชื่อ Lindy ยินดีที่รู้จักค่ะ
ยินดีที่ได้รู้จักค่ะ ชื่อ Grace นะคะ
I would say A1 for now, lowest we can select, but might be an A0, but I have to see more. As such, for now, I would put her at A1, tourist level with better pronunciation. Agree with reviewer 1, I'd say she's an A1, but with a really good pronunciation for a beginner. Okay, so this is the final outcome, and as you can see, she has 5 non-native languages in the B1 plus range, and then she's also got 2 native languages, obviously, which technically, according to some definitions of a hyperpolyglot, makes her a hyperpolyglot. But what I love about her is that she's actually very modest, and if anyone tries to blow smoke up her ass, she actually corrects the record. She doesn't just sit there and take it type of thing. So I find her to be extremely trustworthy, definitely worth following, and I'm going to definitely be following her moving forward. And I would put her in the same category as Cobb in many, many ways. Another person who I highly respect in the language learning sphere. So basically, I'm really happy that the first female that I've reviewed has not been a teardown. Now, not that she needs it because she has 345k subscribers, but I highly recommend still that everyone go to her channel and hit that subscribe button because she's an honest person and she actually shows her journey through each language, which I really appreciate. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have got anyone you want me to review in the future, please let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you all in the next video. Unless, of course, I'm already in your room.